Let's start our lower body stability sequence with our rest assess. I want you to use your body sense and scan your masses and spaces for stuck stress. Even though we'll be working on the lower body, start in your upper body and see if you can identify any stuck stress living in your shoulder girdle. Remember, if your head feels like it's resting off-centered, or your arms feel more weighted on the left or right side, or you're noticing like all of your upper back weight feels like it's resting on the shoulder blades, you've identified stuck stress living in your shoulder girdle. Take a moment to turn your head left and right. Remember, you can always use movement in the upper body to identify stuck stress by sensing pain or range differences from left to right when you turn your head. Bring your head back to a center point. Also notice the shape and size of your low back curve. Remember, if the diaphragm's got a lot of stuck stress, instead of having that nice, small, distinctive space at the lower part of our body, we'll have that big arch in our mid-back. Take a focused breath and also notice your lower body. Now remember, if you're feeling more tailbone than butt cheeks, or the back of the thighs feel off the floor on one or both sides, remember both of those things are signs of stuck stress living in your pelvis. Also, check your autopilot. Divide your body into a left and a right half, and notice, do you feel balanced from left to right, or have you identified some autopilot inefficiency? Remember, if one entire side of your body feels more weighted or one leg feels longer, it's simply saying your autopilot is having a hard time identifying where your center of gravity or pelvis is at, and that can decrease your performance and leave you unstable when you stand up. Now that you've identified if you've got stuck stress living in your body, bend your knees, turn on your side, and let's start by rehydrating the hips before we try to reestablish better stability. I want you to take your roller and sit right on the top of the roller. You're going to be right on your sit bones on the bottom of the pelvis. Once you're here, place your hands on the floor, and I want you to begin to glide your body forward and backward. Now as you glide, try to keep your feet flat on the floor because you can also help to strengthen your feet by keeping your feet flat as you move. We're going to start with what's called your deep hip. So I want you to take your right hand and place it off to the right side of the roller so your fingers are pointed outward. And then open up the hip joint. Once you're here, I want you to begin gliding your deep hip by just allowing your body to fall forward and then push back. So notice how my calf is almost resting on the ground. Depending upon your height, your calf might actually hit the floor as you go through this glide. So once you get your glide moving, I want you to begin just sort of moving your body around, sort of swirl around that hip and see if you can identify any areas of stuck stress or adhesions, anything that feels tender or a little thick in the hip. So once you identify a spot that might be a little tender, I want you to just edge up against it, wait there, and begin your shear by either internally and externally rotating at your hip joint, or do a direct shear by straightening out your leg and slowly just moving your body over the roller. So both of these are ways to rehydrate the tissue and stimulate those cells to bring better balance to the hip. And then remember, once you create a shear, just wait there for a moment and give the tissue a second to adapt. Take a focused breath, find your core on your exhale, bring your body up, shift your hips over, and let's try the same thing on your left hip. Remember, start by opening up the hip joint and just begin gliding onto that deep hip. So this is an area for a lot of athletic performance that can get full of stuck stress, and it actually causes a lot of hip and knee pain. So this is a great thing to alleviate just doing this one move before you do performance. So again, try to identify your barrier. Don't land right on the most tender spot. Just edge up against an area you feel you can tolerate the pressure, wait there, and then begin your shear indirectly by opening and closing the knee, or straighten out your leg and move your body over the roller. This is a direct shear. You're directly influencing the tissue with your movement over the roller. And again, once you've done your shear, just compress that area and wait. Take a nice focused breath. So let's stay on this side and work on your side hip. I want you to bring your forearm down to the ground, and all you need to do here is keep your leg externally rotated and just begin to bend your knee and let your whole body start to slide to the other side of the roller. Use your top leg and hand to push your body back up onto the roller and begin gliding what's called your side hip. So the side hip, or where the internal hip rotators are. And when we do the side leg lift, these are the areas of our bodies we're going to be working on the most. And I have to say, this is an area that can become awfully inhibited from having really strong quads and a really strong upper gluteal area. So notice if you've got tenderness here, again, identify that area you can tolerate the pressure, get smaller and smaller, wait there, and then again, create your shear by internally and externally rotating at the hip, just opening and closing the knee. Or straighten out that bottom leg and move your body over the roller. Now in this area, if you wanted to, instead of rolling, you could also twist the flesh by just shifting your hips forward and back. Whichever way really feels like you're creating that grippiness is what you're looking for. And then same thing, just wait here for a second. Give the tissue a nice moment to adapt. And then find your core, bring your body back up, shift your hips over to the left side, open up the hip, and let's try it over on the other side, bringing your forearm down to the ground. So remember, if you start with that bottom leg relatively straight, and all you do is just slide off the roller, you'll be ready to go, and the roller will be up in that side hip. And again, just begin gliding. So interestingly, the areas that tend to be the most tender are not the areas where your muscles are really strong. It tends to be the areas where you have a lot of neurological inhibition, and connective tissue dehydration is what causes that to occur. So if you've got tenderness, don't think that your muscles are too strong or too tight there. This is the area that's really crying out for your help. So same thing, I want you to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you find that area you can tolerate the pressure on, and then create your indirect shear. You're going to open and close the knee. Or create the direct shear, either by straightening your leg and moving your body over the roller, left and right, or creating that twisting action at the hip. If you feel like you go over the speed bump doing the direct shear, this is the easiest way to do it. And then same thing, just wait here for a moment. Give the tissue a moment to adapt. So now that we've created a little bit of hydration for your hips, come off the roller and let's start with our first move called the clam. Now this move might look familiar, but this is going to be an extremely challenging move, especially for those of us who have got tight hips from all of the sports performance that we do. So set your roller down, and I want you to use the roller as a pillow so that you can actually shift your bottom arm forward so that you're not lying on the shoulder joint. You can just rest your head comfortably down. Now I want you to take your top leg and just rest it in front of the bottom leg so that what I want you to feel is that you're lying on the bottom thigh, not your bottom hip bone. And then once you've got your leg set up, just stack the other leg right atop it. Now this position is the first part, but there's 3 positions of your hip that we need to maintain to really get the benefits of this move. So first, you're going to start by tilting your pelvis. That's going to increase your low back curve. Make sure that your ribs don't come out ahead of you. Once you have that position, I want you to now try to stack your top hip on top of your bottom hip. That's going to elevate your waistline a little bit, but don't let your ribs come with you. So it's just a slight stacking. Once you've got the stack, let your top hip fall forward. If you're in the right position, your top knee will now bypass your bottom knee. So remember, tilt, stack, and roll. Once you've got your hip set up, take your top hand and bring your top hand out in front of you to stabilize your torso so that everything can stay still where it needs to. Keep your heels together and slowly clam that top knee up. And once your top knee is up, here's where the magic happens. You've got to wait. Everybody's favorite thing to do in this position. So once you've got your hip in this position, even though you might not have felt like your hip is moving, it's probably shifted into a new position. So I want you to check. Re-tilt your pelvis, re-stack, and re-roll. And notice how you've reset the hips even though you didn't notice that it moved. Once you've got your body here, find your core and slowly bring that top knee back down. Reach the knee forward and clam it back up and wait. Give the reintegration process a moment to happen. Try it again nice and slowly. Bring the leg down slowly. Keep your core engaged. And slowly bring that knee back up. Check that your hips are still in the tilt, stack, and roll. Slowly bring that knee down again. And again, nice and slowly. Reach that knee forward as you come up. One more time. Slowly bring that leg down. Keep the pelvis neutral. And again, lift that leg back up. Check here for a moment. I'm going to give you an extra. I want you to think about lifting your bottom knee slightly off the ground, just in case you're cheating and pushing into your bottom leg to hold that top leg up. Are your hips shaking back there? Mine is too. So now recheck your tilt, stack, and roll, and let's go for our pattern. Nice and slowly, you'll bring that knee down, and then bring it back up. Again, bring it down, and bring it up. Just 2 more times, nice and slow, bring it down. Keep your core engaged and bring it up. And one more time, bring it down, lift it up. Stay there for 1 more second, tilt your pelvis, stack it, roll, really try to hold that perfect position, and then let it go. Oh, it's so good when that one's over. Let's try it on the other side. How'd that go back there? I know that's tough. So let's turn over to the other side, and I'm gonna help carry on this side. or maybe make you perfect it on this side. So I want you to turn on your side, and remember, the hip position is the most important part of this entire move. So once you get yourself set up, make sure that you're not lying on your hip, but that you're lying on your thigh. So if you need to, just shift your hips back a little bit. Then take your bottom arm and outreach it so that you're lying on the side of your arm and you're not lying on your shoulder joint. Once you have your hip and arm set, remember, the hip position is the most important thing. So we're going to begin by tilting the pelvis. So that's going to increase your low back curve slightly. Then you want to stack it so that your top hip is stacked on your bottom hip, and then fall forward. So if you had a laser light beam on the top of your top hip, it would be angling more to the floor than out in front of you. The top knee should bypass the bottom leg. Now once you're there, use your top arm to really stabilize your torso. So just keep your arm out ahead of you. And I would actually keep your arms straight so that you really keep that nice, strong torso position. Heels stay together and slowly clam that top knee open. Now once you get your leg up, remember, range of motion isn't important. It's really about the specificity of the move. So once your leg comes up, your brain might be Jedi mind tricking you and moving your hip for you. So recheck, tilt the pelvis, stack it, and then again, fall forward. And again, once you're here, try to lift that top knee up a little bit higher. Make sure that you're not pushing into that bottom leg to cheat. So if you need to, even think about lightening up that bottom leg right when you get going. And then let's go for reintegration. Slowly bring that leg down. And then reach that leg forward to come back up again. Oh yeah, there it is. I can feel it. Bring that leg down. So again, look at all the work that's happening. Try again, reaching the leg forward to come up. So that tremble is not bad. That's the reintegration process. And then slowly bring that down. Your brain doesn't want to use just one region of your body. Try it again. Lift the leg up and wait. These are stabilizers. Get them to fire. And then bring that leg back down. One more time, nice and slow. Reach that leg forward to come up and wait. And then slowly bring that leg back down. Now you're ready for the pattern. Check your tilt, stack, and roll, and go for the pattern. Bringing that leg up, and then slowly bringing it back down. Bring it right back up again, and right back down. You're almost done with it, Carrie. 2 more. Exhale, bring it up. Keep that core engaged. 1 more time, bring it down. And bring that leg up. Heels are still pressing together. There it is. And bring that leg all the way back down and let it go. Oh, I know that one is a tough one. You did a great job on that one. So let's add a couple more moves. Let's try inner thigh. So staying right where you are, just take your roller, and I want you to bring it out ahead of you. If you grab the end of the roller, the best way to set this one up is to straighten your arm out ahead of you, and whatever the angle and reach of your own arm is a great place to set the roller up so that it's not too close to you. Then you set your calf onto the top of the roller. Now, if you've got a long leg, or you're taller than me, like Greg or Carrie, make sure that you're not cheating by putting your toes on the ground. You could always slide that roller down a little lower if you needed to, but don't cheat with your foot. Let your head rest into your arm, and here it's important again to have your hips set up properly. So the first thing we want to do is your tilt. So you're going to increase a slight bit of curve in your back. You're going to try to stack your top hip, and then instead of letting your torso fall forward, this time let your hip roll forward with the roller, opening up the front of the hip slightly. Once you're here, try not to work from the waistline, so keep that top hip stacked and nice and slowly bring the leg up. So your body's going to want to let your obliques take the work, and so your hip's going to want to drop. So make sure that that hip stays stacked once you lift. Then set up the leg in the proper position by taking the bottom leg and kicking it forward, almost like you're trying to bring your shin to the front of the roller, and then try to bring your leg up much higher. Once you've got your leg set up, recheck your tilt, your stack, and keep reaching that top leg forward. Now once you're here, also check that you're not tightening up at the ankle. Try to keep your leg as relaxed as you can as you hold the weight up there. Now once you're here, let's try reintegrating. So from where you are, try to bring the leg up another inch and wait. And again, if you get that tremble, that's the reintegration happening, so don't stop it. And then bring that leg down a few inches and wait. Try again with control. Bring the leg up and wait. And then bring the leg back down to parallel and wait. Nice and slow. Bringing that leg back up. Check that you're still in your tilt and stack and still reaching that top leg forward. Bring the leg back to parallel and wait. One more time with control. Bring that leg up and wait. And then bring it back to parallel and wait. So now let's go for our pattern. It's a little bit more range, but still a relatively slow pace. Bringing the leg up a little higher if you can, slowly bringing it down till it just taps the ground and go right back up again, and then right back down. Again, make sure that you keep the space between your waistline as you lift, and then bring it back down. And one last one, bring the leg up, and bring it back down. Now we have a challenge. Bring the leg up, stay there, kick the leg forward another inch, bring it up 1 inch higher, check your hips, and 4 times, bringing it up. 4, 3, 2, hold it up on that last one, go 1 inch higher, and then release it all the way back down to the ground. Oh, I know that is a tough move to do. Great one if you have any knee or hip issues though. Take your time and sit up for a moment, and let's try side leg lift. I want you to take your bottom leg and just shift your hip back. Make sure that you're lying more on your thigh than your hip bone. And you're gonna use this roller to really reach the leg, the top leg. So place the roller out along the side of you and place your ankle on it. So as you straighten your leg, the roller will move up your calf just a little bit. Then rest your body down. And again, make sure that you don't feel like you're lying on your hip, but you feel like you're lying on your thigh. So if you need to, just shift your hips back to really set your body position up so that you get the most out of the move. You're gonna rest your head down onto your arm and your hands on your top hip. And once you're here, I want you to tilt your pelvis again, stack it, and again, roll it forward. Remember, the hip position and stabilizing it is the most important thing of all of our moves. But this time, just check that you're really reaching the leg. So I want you to try this 3 times, moving the roller out and back in, and making sure that you're not taking your ribs with you, but that you're really acting upon your hip. This is great practice. One more time, reaching the hip. Now keep that reach, find your core, and really slowly, you're gonna bring that top leg up. And once your top leg is up, take your top hand and you can just go ahead and reach it down to the floor to again help to stabilize your torso once you know you're in a good setup position. So once you're here, re-tilt your pelvis, re-stack, and re-roll. Even though you might not have felt like you moved, your body probably has already shifted into another position. Make sure that your leg is not swinging forward, but it's really staying in line with your body for the integration to occur. Now, if you're already feeling the tremble, you're there, but here's where our first start is. You're gonna try to internally rotate your leg, and then without moving your hip, externally rotate. Try again, internally rotate, and again, externally rotate. 2 more times, internally rotate. Watch how my body stays still, so I'm not letting my hip roll back. 1 more time, internally rotate, and externally rotate. Now you want to keep the hip internally rotated. I want you to keep it there, and very slowly, without moving your hips, I want you to lift that leg up an inch and wait. And then bring it back to parallel and wait. Check your tilt, stack, and roll. Try again. Bring the leg up and wait. And then go back to parallel and wait. How are you guys doing back there? Try again, bringing it up and wait. And then going back to parallel and wait. 1 more time, bring that leg up and wait. Again, if you're feeling that tremble or shake, you're doing it right. And then bring the leg back to parallel and wait. Check your tilt, stack, and roll. Make sure nothing's changed in your hip, and let's go for the pattern. Bringing the leg up another inch higher, and this time letting it come all the way down until it taps onto the roller, and then slowly bring that leg up again, and slowly bring it back down. 2 more times, bringing it up, and back down. 1 more time, don't let that hip move, bringing it back up, and back down, and this time you're gonna bring it up and you gotta wait there. I know, here comes the hardest part. Check your tilt, stack, and roll. And let's try 1 more time to internally rotate our leg. Externally rotate it. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. Last 2 and we're out of it. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. And 1 more time. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. And release the leg all the way back down. Oh, it's so good when that's over. But unfortunately, we have an entirely other side to do. So flip yourself over and let's start with inner thigh lift. Now, Greg is one of my athlete friends who I've seen do so much. So this is where I want you to grab onto the roll. You're gonna place it out ahead of you. So inner thigh first. So once you've got the roller out in front of you, remember you're going to put your calf on the roller, and don't cheat with having your foot on the floor. So for Greg, I'm even going to bring his leg up a little bit more just so that he does it perfect. So once we're here, you're welcome. We're going to bring that leg straight out. So remember, it's all about stabilizing the hip. It's not about what's moving, it's about what's staying stable. So remember, we want to start at the hip. So we're going to tilt the pelvis. We're going to try to stack it. And then we're going to try to reach the leg forward. Yeah? So once we've got all of this here, without letting your waistline take control, reach this bottom leg long and start to lift it up. Now once your leg comes up, remember the height of the leg doesn't matter so much as that you're doing it with stable hips. So recheck your tilt stack, and again, when you roll, you're reaching the leg forward. Now once you've got your hip in position, we've got to take this bottom leg, kick it forward. So it's almost like you're trying to bring it to the roller, and then try to bring the leg up higher. Oh yeah, Greg is working now. Here we go. So once we're in the position, bring that leg up an inch and wait. And then go back to parallel and wait. Try again. Bring that leg up and wait. This is where muscles will not help you out. And then bring it back down and wait. 2 more times. Bring that leg up and wait. And then go back to parallel and wait. And 1 more time, bring that leg up and wait. And then go back to parallel and wait. Check your hips, tilt, stack, and reach. And now let's go for your pattern. Bringing the leg up and then go all the way down just where it taps the floor and bring it right back up, reaching that bottom leg. And then bring it back down. 2 more times, bring that leg up and bring it down. And 1 more time, bring that leg up and bring it down. Let's try the challenge. Bring that leg up and wait there. Recheck your tilt, stack, and roll. And 4 small lifts. Up 4, up 3, don't kick it, 2, and 1 more time. Hold it there, go up 1 more inch, and then release it all the way down. Even the strongest bodies struggle with that. That's part of your neurocore, part of the rooting reflex, which can get completely inhibited from our strong muscles. Take your time and sit up, and let's try your side leg lift. Now remember, you're going to use the roller to really marker that long reach. So start with your ankle on the roller and just reach the roller out. Then rest your body down. And again, make sure that you don't feel like you're lying on your hip, but you feel like you're lying on your thighs. So just notice how Greg kind of shifts his hip back before he gets back down. So once we're here, again, you want to have this nice long torso, your shoulder, your hip, and your ankle all in one straight line. Now once you've got your body set up, remember it's all about the pelvic position. So again, we're going to tilt the pelvis. This time when we stack, remember we're going to try to reach the roller and make it move a little bit. So just try that twice. Let the hip kind of relax and reach it out. 1 more time, relax it and reach it out. So really see how Greg really gets that reach from his hip. And once you're here, again, fall forward with that top hip slightly. So again, the hip angles toward the knee. Once you're here, find your core, keep your ribs stable, reach that top leg up. Once you've got your top leg in position, you might think everything has gone perfectly, only again, your hips might have shifted. So we retilt, we restack, and we re-roll. And again, encourage that top leg to drift back a little bit so that we don't use the front of our hip to cheat. Now let's try our rotation. Internally rotate the leg. Externally rotate without letting the hip fall back. Try again. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. 2 more times. Internal rotation. External rotation. Last one. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. Now remember, internal rotation, keep it there. Recheck your tilt, stack, and roll. Keep the ribs back and heavy, and now try to lift the leg up. Wait there. Slowly bring that leg back to parallel and wait. With control, slowly bring that leg up. So really see how small that movement is, not big. Bring that leg back and wait. 2 more. Slowly lift up and wait. And then bring it to parallel and wait. Don't be afraid of that tremble. It's a good thing. Bring that leg up and wait. And then bring it back to parallel and wait. Now let's go for the pattern. A little more pace, bringing that leg up a touch higher and letting the leg come all the way back down to the roller. With control, bring it back up. And then go back down. 2 more times, bring the leg up. And then bring it back down. 1 more time, Greg, you're almost there. Bring it up. and then bring it back down. This time you're gonna bring that leg up and you gotta wait there. Once your leg comes up, recheck your tilt, your stack, your roll. You can do it, Marissa, I see you over there. Internally rotate the leg. Hang in there, guys. Externally rotate, you're almost there. Internally rotate. Externally rotate, you can do this. 2 more, internal rotation. Externally rotate, keep that hip still. One more time, internal rotation. Externally rotate, and then release it all the way down. Oh, I know it, it's so hard to do. It's such a challenge. But here's the crazy thing, lie back on your back and let's reassess. All this work that we're doing, you would think it would cause more stuck stress in the body, but actually once the hips are more stable, the rest of the body gets more control. So reassess your masses and spaces. Remember, we identified some accumulated stress that might be in the lower body, and because we worked here, let's focus on the direct changes. If before you were feeling your tailbone really weighted to the ground, notice now if your butt cheeks are more settled to the floor. Or maybe the back of the thighs felt a little lifted or off balance. Maybe the legs are more settled to the ground. How do you guys feel on those direct changes? Did you make it? Awesome. What about the indirect changes? Now, we didn't do anything for your low back, but when the hips have more stability, you might find that the curve of your back is more relaxed and closer to the top of your hips. You may have also alleviated some stuck stress in your upper body. Maybe your arms are more balanced or your ribs feel more weighted. But also turn your head left and right. By stabilizing the hips, oftentimes our head frees up and we can really move our neck with more freedom. How do you guys feel turning your head now? This one is my magic trick. Anytime my neck hurts me, I always work indirectly on my lower body first, and it alleviates all of my upper body tension. Also, divide yourself into a left and a right half. Notice if you feel more balanced from left to right. If your autopilot can reacquire its connection to your center of gravity and your hips are more stable, I will guarantee your performance will improve immediately. Make sure that you add this to any lower body training routine, and I promise you, your body will improve in its stability, you'll get better performance, and you'll feel better, reduce hip and knee pain. Happy melting. You guys did a great job on that one. Well done.